Welcome to another episode of the Ball Ridden Podcast. As always, I'm Frank Sharoni. Josh is here with us. Josh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, Frank. It's an absolute pleasure to be on here again. A lot of interesting things happen since I've been on here last time.
We have a bracket.
We do, and some say it's one of the worst brackets ever, but it's a bracket.
We got a bracket. Indiana's number one. They're joined by Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech with the byes. Oregon's in there, Alabama, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, A&M, Miami. Bama snuck in. You could say JMU snuck in. Group of five along with Tulane. But the story where I think we should start the story of the bracket release, Notre Dame out. Thoughts, concerns?
So I know I'm not a Notre Dame fan. I will put that out there. I know, Frank, you know this. However, I will say when you look at the top teams in the country, I do put Notre Dame in that category. Um, my only argument against Notre Dame not being in the playoff was relatively the only reason they weren't in is because a flawed committee ranking had them above Miami before.
Mm-hmm.
So then that just automatically assumed to Notre Dame that they were locked into the playoff position. It's kind of funny when I talk to my buddies who are Notre Dame fans and I ask, like, well, give me a reason why Notre Dame should be in over Miami or over Alabama. And their immediate sayings are, well, we were ranked higher than them. But that's not a real legitimate reason. And that's the thing that I've come to terms with. Is I haven't really heard of a real legitimate reason. I get they won 10 games, but they lost their two most important at the beginning of the season, which was the big ones. Um, I'm very surprised. Not very much surprised, but I am still a little bit stunned by the way that they've taken this completely. And the fact of opting out of bowl season.
Yeah.
Um,
I appreciate the way they've gone at not getting in though. They're not really attacking the other teams. They're attacking
no,
what you've talked
right.
about, the whole process where they're basically saying we got duped into thinking we had a shot. I mean, I guarantee none of those players thought that their last game would be when they walked off the field at Stanford. So I mean, I think they were more shocked that they were just led to believe that they had a spot and they didn't. Now, did the committee do the right thing? Yes, they did the right thing. Does it suck? Yes, because as you said, I think Notre Dame is for sure a top 12, top 10, top 5 maybe team in the country. They're probably beating half the teams in this playoff. But you can't it's hard to defend head to head. And I mean, you talked about the ranking and how they were above Miami basically the whole time, but you saw the committee just keep sneaking Miami up because I think they realize, hey, we fucked up in this first ranking by putting Miami so far behind Notre Dame, and they had to make up for it. They finally did before the last week, putting BYU in between them and hoping BYU lost, which they did, to where they could finally make the switch when they were right next to each other with the head-to-head. So, yeah, it sucks. I was big on Notre Dame. I wanted them to be in. I think they had a chance to win it all, but it's hard to defend head-to-head. And the one thing I've realized to where I think I can say the committee did the right thing is that you don't see many people complaining other than Notre Dame fans. Where
Yeah,
if it was the other way around, we like all hell would break loose if Miami got in over them.
right. And well, the tough part is it is one fan base, but it's a loud fan base. They're the fans honestly have, it's not so much the football program that is getting me mad when I see the Twitter. It's more of the fan base and the administration at Notre Dame.
They're
Um,
throwing this AD out there in the spotlight, and they're like, "You do all the dirty work." They're keeping Freeman as babyface as they can.
well, it's kind of funny because as much as they want to keep Freeman out of the light, it's now he's coming up as the number one choice for the Giants head
Yeah,
coaching job, which is really funny. But when you look at it though, I just think as an administration AD, it's kind of baffling some of his comments. Like he's like dumbfounded that Notre Dame wasn't like the ACC didn't lobby for Notre Dame,
mm-hmm.
but it's like you aren't a member
Yeah,
of the
the
ACC in
ACC I'm sure
football.
does not like them. What, they have some scheduling agreement, but what does that mean?
Right. And it's other sports. Yeah, I get it. You are a full participant, but you have never joined the ACC. You refuse to join the ACC. Why would the ACC lobby for you to get in the playoff over their only chance of a team getting in?
Yeah, I mean it is kind of the ACC. The one thing I can see them having a grudge against the ACC is where what Miami missed the ACC championship because of the tiebreaker, right?
Right.
And I know this was thrown out there; it would have never happened. But they were saying they should say screw the tiebreaker. We want Miami in, so we have a better shot at getting a team in for sure. If they were to do that, or they didn't have this stupid tiebreaker, and Miami made the ACC championship, which they probably would have won it, then Notre Dame gets in, right, for sure,
I would think so. But
because that would knock JMU out.
right. But I mean, and that's the tough part though. And then it would come down to, is BYU more deserving? Because BYU lost 2 games to the number 4 team in the country.
Yeah.
Um, so whatever the system is right now, it is flawed.
Yep.
But
I'm personally though I'm tired of the complaining.
so am I.
It's
It's
so much
like,
complaining. At the end of the day, it's still good football. It's a lot better than what we had in the past. And I know everyone wants to expand. I think 16 is the right number, but my question is when we first expanded from 4 to 12, everyone was like, "Oh, it's fixed." When we went from 2 to 4, it was fixed. 4 to 12, it was fixed. And now it feels
right.
like we're complaining more than ever. It's such a year by year thing. Like last year, we didn't have this problem because SMU, I think SMU was the last team in, and even then it was like, SMU's not that good. I don't know if they really even deserve to be in. It's such a year by year basis thing. Same thing with the group of 5 this year. Last year, it was awesome for the group of 5 because Boise State was actually a really good group of 5 team. This year, I know there's 2 group of 5 teams. Neither of them are really worthy though. No one from the group of 5 is though. There's no right answer to this. It's such a year by year basis thing, but personally, I think 16 would be that number to where if you're outside of that top 16, you should not have any arguing to do at all.
Yeah. And you know what, Frank? On the topic of this, because we're talking about the playoff, I want to throw a wrench in what we were planning on doing, and I want to ask you what your top 3 snubs of college football playoff history is. Your top 3.
Oh, well, there's obviously Florida State, but they shouldn't have been in the year they were undefeated, right?
Yeah, I would argue that wasn't even the best team that missed the playoff that year.
Oh, Georgia.
Yeah, I mean that team was on a 29
Yeah.
game win streak.
One thing that kept coming to my mind was I think it was 2016. Do you remember this is the year Penn State beat Ohio State?
Yes.
But Penn State also had 2 losses overall, I believe, and Ohio State
Mm-hmm.
had just the loss to Penn State. Penn State went to the Big Ten championship and won the Big Ten championship. Ohio State got in over Penn State. That kept coming into my mind this year when people were talking about head to head because head to head was not honored that year. But obviously it's different because Penn State had 2 losses and Ohio State had 1.
Right.
That's one
Well,
snub that comes to
the,
mind,
the
I
the key
guess.
the key one that I always go back to is Wisconsin when they lost the Big Ten
Oh
championship
yeah,
and Ohio State. They lost by 7,
yeah.
and Ohio State got in over them. And what was it, 2017, I believe. And then the other one was like the first year of the playoff when TCU and Baylor were both left out. And because everyone was surprised that one of those 2 teams
You're
didn't get
going
in.
way back. I don't know if I can remember that.
Well, so the reason why TCU was so good that year is I remember they had like a top 5 offense in the country, and they were 11-1, I believe,
Was
but
it
didn't
Trevon
make.
Boykin?
Yes,
Oh wait, this is the year Ohio State because there was the huge discussion.
yes,
JT Barrett
but
got hurt and they won the Big Ten championship by like
yes,
60. I
yes.
follow now.
Yeah. So that's another snub when you look at it where it's like, oh, you know, but this is a consistent problem that the playoffs always had. It's like one year it feels like they put the best teams in. And then the next year what matters is the most deserving.
Yep, that's the argument.
And that's why I mean, what you said, going to 16 does I guess I just can't lobby if you're gonna go 4 rounds and not put 16 teams. It just doesn't make sense to me because your top 4 seeds just get buys, which is dumb to me, and they don't get a home game. Um, I will say it's the day I die. I'm a 4-team playoff type of guy. I think every year there's only 4 teams that can
That's
win it.
with all the argument there was that I mean, when I saw the top 4 teams for this year, I'm like, this is a 4-team playoff at the end of the day,
Right.
I think.
Exactly. And when you look at it, it's like outside of Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, and Texas Tech.
Tech.
I mean, Bama looked very, very beatable. They had -3 rush yards in their
They look
game. I guess.
terrible.
I mean, A&M. Yeah, it's tough
That's an
for.
argument too. They probably should have fallen, in my mind.
Yeah, and that was kind of surprising. But like then you look at teams like A&M. Like yeah, A&M. It's tough. They did lose one game. The last game of the season against Texas in Texas, but the tough part about it is though is like when you look at A&M all year, a lot of their game, like the LSU game, that game was they were down 3 points in the fourth quarter, and then they exploded for 28, and then they were what down.
They weren't down in that game. In the second half, maybe not the fourth quarter. They
Okay, then maybe it was the
dominated the
second.
second half, but it was close, I guess, first
Yeah.
half.
Okay, and then it was what South Carolina down 30
Yes,
points.
yes.
It's like
I'm not sold
it's
on A&M.
no, and when you look at the top 4 teams in the country, it's like they haven't had that. So
With that being said, one of my biggest takeaways from the bracket, I think Ohio State's the biggest loser in all of this.
by far,
They got the 2 seed. They get the winner of Miami and A&M. And when I look at all the teams that play in the first round, if I'm ranking them by who I want to play least to who I would like to see the most, I think A&M and Miami are 2 and 3 behind Oregon as the teams I would not want to see. They got to play one of them. On top of that, they're in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas.
yeah.
Now, do teams get to pick where they get to go?
It goes by. So the first team gets the closest. The second team gets the second closest.
I
So
think they get to pick though, because Indiana went to Cali.
did they?
I don't think it's just closest. I think you pick.
Oh, I thought it was closest, but maybe you do get a pick.
But no,
Which I guess
it does. It wouldn't make sense for picking with Ohio State because wouldn't they go? I think the other one's New Orleans. I thought they would have gone there over Dallas, which favors A&M, and then the other location was Florida, which is Miami's home stadium.
right. I don't know. Maybe it is kind of tough. I guess the tough part is like if you are a Big Ten team, I mean, or a Midwest team, like realistically, unless you're playing in Lucas Oil, you don't really.
They get screwed with the New Year's Six Bowl. There needs to be one added somewhere up north. Oh, that's another thing I noticed too. Remember last year when we got the 12-team playoff in the home games, everyone was like, "Oh, we're finally going to get to see, these cold weather games. SEC teams come up north and play in 0 degrees." There's none of that
Right.
this year. All these games
No.
are in relatively warmer environments, so that sucks.
Right. Yeah, and the only one that's not is Oregon, but it's against JMU, and Oregon's going to win that game by 35 points.
What is Oregon's not like cold, is it?
It's not, but it is on the water, like near the water, and it's on the, I mean, what, West Coast. So-
It's 56 degrees right now in Eugene, Oregon.
So I guess, yeah, I mean, that is kind of weird. That's the problem. I just think I hate how the top 4 seeds don't get home games
Yeah.
at all.
I don't think
that,
they
that's
like
a
that
flawed
either.
system. Yeah, that's a flawed system to me. You deserve a top 4 seed. You don't get a home playoff game. That's kind of ridiculous.
I think, especially with Ohio State, this loss this year to Indiana is nowhere near as bad as last year's was to Michigan. But I think them having a easy home game this year would be great just for them to get their mojo back a little bit, because I think that's what the Tennessee game did last year.
Right.
To finish off with Ohio State as the biggest losers, have you seen the bracket of what it would have been if they used last year's format for them?
Yeah, Tulane would have been the 4 seed, and I mean,
They would have got JMU at home and Tulane in the next round. They would have had a cakewalk to the semifinals, which is hilarious how they got screwed last year with a horrible path that they made it through. And then this year, if it would have been last year's, they would have had a cakewalk. So
right.
I think Ohio State's the biggest loser in that. Any other big takeaways you got from this bracket?
I would say the biggest one, I think the most intriguing game to me is Texas Tech versus Oregon. I think, and the only reason why I say that is because Texas Tech is really, really, really good. And I feel like every single week I texted you, Frank, and I was like, this team can win the national championship. Because when you watch them, they're just so good. Like you watch them, and they don't just like what they've beaten all their wins by 20 plus points.
Yep, and the only loss didn't have a starting quarterback.
Right. And it's like when you watch them, it's hard not to think like, wow, this team's dominating. This team has a chance to win it all. But then on the flip side of that, you have Oregon, where Oregon played in like a relatively good amount of close games this year.
Yeah,
And I know me, I wasn't very high on Oregon. I didn't think they'd win 11 games. Um, but they did. So I think that's going to be the test of like how good really are both these teams because I can't see Oregon struggling against JMU. And then the other one I'm excited for is the Ole Miss Georgia rematch. Um, Ole Miss walked into Georgia, almost came out with a victory. Um, and then so I guess you got Trinidad, but then you also have the story of how how is that team going to play?
they got to come
Um,
out, I think, hair on fire. I hope. Well, they have,
right.
basically a tune-up game against a team they already beat by 40. So
Right. So I guess that is the positive note is that you do have that game where you know you're gonna win. So you know like you have that barrier to get right.
hmm I do love Oregon coming into this playoff, just especially after what happened last year. It's a completely different situation. They were undefeated last year, number one all season. The hype was crazy, and they came out super flat. This year, I don't think it could be even more opposite. I feel like everyone's pretty down on them, or at least they haven't been talked about as much for the number 5 team in the country.
Yeah. I feel like if you are an Alabama or Oklahoma fan right now, mind you, I did not think Indiana was this good. I thought Ohio State would pretty much handle.
Me as
If you're an
well.
Alabama or Oklahoma fan, based off of how arrogant you are, you're looking at this bracket and you're like, we have a walk to the national championship.
Yeah,
You look
they
at your
don't
side of the
understand
bracket.
Indiana.
You look at your side of the bracket and you say, "Wow, the toughest team on our side is maybe Oregon."
Have you
And
have you seen the hypothetical lines though?
no, I haven't.
I believe Indiana was favored by 7.5 or 8.5 against Alabama or Oklahoma.
Wow, and they're good. They proved a lot to me in that game.
Yeah,
Um, I didn't think they were that good.
yeah.
Well, I knew they were good. I didn't think they were. I didn't think they were going to be able to hold Ohio State to 10 points, and they did.
The defense.
Um, yeah, that defense is, and that's the thing. It's like I feel like you've seen Indiana score and win these games by dominating fashion. Like when example when they played Illinois, I mean they beat us like what 63 to 10. It's like obviously the defense is good, but like they're lighting it up on the scoreboard. But then they go out and they hold Ohio State to 10 points. I mean that's saying something, and it's. I mean they're really good.
I think that game really showed a point that's been made with Ohio State too, to where Indiana's been challenged multiple times this season, and we saw them make the plays they needed to down the stretch of that game because they've been in that spot before. Ohio State, that was the first time they really got in a spot like that. Was the first time Julian Sands ever had, pressure. I feel like,
What was a? It was his first time taking a snap down in the fourth
yeah,
quarter of his career.
yeah, that's wild. And you said it with Oregon too. They've been through games like that, so that makes me like them even more here too.
Right.
One thing I want to throw at you that I found, this is on DraftKings. So they had a bet that was, you can bet the exact sum of the seeds in the national championship game. So if it's 1v2, that's 3.
Okay. Yeah.
So the favorite right now is 7 at plus 285. Slightly behind that is 3 at plus 290. So 3 is obviously your only options, Ohio State, Indiana. The
Right.
reason I think 7's a slight favorite is because you have a little more options. With that, you get Ohio State, Oregon, which I think is the one they're really looking at. Indiana, Texas Tech. No.
No.
Indiana, Ole
Indiana, Ole
Miss,
Miss.
Georgia, Texas Tech.
Yeah. If I was a betting man, which I am, um, yeah, I do like the 7. I think that's a.
You just get more options.
I just, I just feel like the way the playoff went last year, I know it's a different um seeding, but us seeing all four teams with a bye lose that round, I feel like you can't sit here and expect the chalk. You can't.
Nope.
Um, there's gonna be an upset. I don't know where it's gonna be.
If my thing is, if I know college football with all the noise and all the bullshit these group of fives are getting, one of these group of five teams is gonna keep it close or maybe win. That's just how things usually tend to work out.
Yeah. Um, I feel like the obvious answer would be maybe Tulane because of the situation Ole Miss is in, and they've already played. However, I mean,
It's hard to
we,
imagine one of those games being close, but
we don't really know how good JMU is, and that's something I'll die on this hill. They lost what week 1 to Louisville,
that was like 2 or 3, but Alonzo Barnett, the quarterback, was not fully healthy.
right?
And his legs are a massive part of their offense.
Right. So it's like they lose week 1 or whatever week 2 or 3, whatever it was, but then they've won what 9 straight games.
Yeah, and for the most part in dominant fashion.
So I mean, it is. It's like how good is this team? I don't know. But it's not like James Madison hasn't gotten recruits. They've always been really good with FCS, and obviously they had Signetti, and then now their coach now is really good. Um, so it's like you don't really know. So it's going to be interesting to see that game. That would be my one call for the group of five if there ever was going to be a group of five winning the playoff. I think the best chance last year was Boise State.
Yeah, that was a whole different story though. They were inside the top 12, right?
Yeah, they were just really good last year.
Yeah, that was an impressive Boise State team. All right, we can move on from the playoff for now. We'll probably do another episode where we can go through picks and fill out the bracket before the games start. Last thing I want to hit on before we get out of here. There's more than just the playoff. It's bowl season. I know no one likes to talk about it anymore because a lot of these don't mean shit. You said Notre Dame opted out. Kansas State and Iowa State opted out as well. So, bowls don't mean as much as they once did, but I think there's still a couple of good bowl matchups out there. They make for some entertaining games. There's a lot of opt-outs now by players, but you get to see some younger players too. One game that I had my eye on, Cal versus Hawaii, Christmas
Yes.
Eve night. Michael Alejado versus Jaron, whatever, Sakapolotele,
Yeah.
however you pronounce it.
Seven last name guy.
Yes. He's going back to Cal, though, and Alejado, Hawaii, 2 freshman quarterbacks. That's just should be a fun, that's what I call a fun, entertaining game, Christmas Eve night in Hawaii, too, the Hawaii Bowl.
Yeah. That was one of the ones I circled. It's like when you want firepower, you want good quarterback play, and you're looking at guys that you know are going to play in the game because they have another year
Yeah.
at least. Um, that was one of the ones I really loved. The one that I fell in love with, um, it flew past me when I was first looking at it, but the one I really love is the Myrtle Beach Bowl, and it's Kennesaw State versus Western Michigan because you're getting 2 teams. But here's why. You are getting 2 teams that just won championships, and it's like I feel like the Western Michigan and Kennesaw State might be the 2 most random teams in college football this year that won a conference championship. I feel like no one has talked about either of those teams the entire season.
Yeah.
Um, so it's very very intriguing to me that they and I love the model by them, like help like fuck it, let's just put the 2 champs
Yeah.
against each other. Um,
Kennesaw State's first bowl game ever, I believe. Has
it
to
is
be.
they weren't eligible and they were FCS before that, so that is one that I'm in love with.
I also, Michigan, obviously, Michigan, Texas, that's Big Ten, SEC, Arch and Bryce both have to play, right? I mean, no way either of them
Yeah,
sits out,
I
I
feel
would
like
think.
no, I feel like you take those because and here's my only argument for bowl games. If you are a team that's not in the playoff, it's like if you have underclassmen, it's an extra like what 2 weeks of
Yeah, that's
practice.
the thing for Notre Dame.
Right.
Like,
It's
they
it's
got a freshman
essentially
quarterback.
right. It's like you get your kid 14 extra practices where he's not just lifting and then waiting until spring ball. Like he gets 2 weeks of extra practice and he gets a whole nother game, which is going to be in a slower set because those NFL guys aren't in, so maybe it gets them some more confidence. That's the thing. Look at what Drew Mestamaker did last year.
Yeah.
He threw for 600 yards in his bowl game, and now he's going to be the most shopped at quarterback in the entire country in this offseason.
Last thing with Notre Dame too. I mean, that has to suck for some of those seniors that especially aren't going to play in the NFL. Like, don't you think some of them would have liked to, know it's their last game or go one more time? That's why I don't know how much of a team decision that was.
So that's why I was laughing about this, and I was actually before this podcast, I texted one of my buddies who's a Michigan fan, and we were talking about this. And imagine your last game is at Stanford because so what's coming more and more out is it was a captain's decision.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Um, but the captains don't represent the vast majority of those teams because the captains are all NFL guys, or maybe your fifth year senior who might he might be an undrafted free agent, but he's gonna have a shot. He's a captain at Notre Dame,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like when you look at a guy like that where they have a future in the sport, and you turn around and you're a guy who just like was on the team. You love the sport, and now you get told like, hey, sorry, buddy. Hope you liked it against Stanford. You're done. You're done for your career. Like that's got to be a sour taste.
I think I think Klatt said this too on the captain's decision. Like, this was made right after the playoff came out, their decision to not play in the bowl game. That was probably a very spur of the moment emotional decision when they said like, "Hey, do you want to play in a bowl game?" Instead, they were like, "No, fuck this. Probably we're not doing that." But I'm sure if they
Right.
took a couple days, they probably would have wished they could have another chance out there.
Right. I mean, yeah, I just can't agree with that. I want to get off the topic of Notre Dame. I hate talking about them. They really got me mad. But
They're
but I
not
just want
wrong.
to
They're not wrong with how big the brand is.
right. But I want to point out two more bowl games that I really do love,
Go ahead.
and they're on the same day, an hour apart from each other. I think a lot of Pittsburgh fans were not happy with the bowl they got, and they felt like they got snubbed out of a better bowl. They did get the eighth best bowl in the ACC, which was kind of BS. Uh, but I do think if you're looking for fireworks in a bowl game, Pittsburgh versus East Carolina, I could see that game being 45-44.
Kattenhauser.
Right, and then you just have two quarterbacks and offenses that can put up points on the board. So that's what I look excited to. And my dubbed national championship, Penn State versus Clemson, my favorite bowl game of the entire
The
bowl
disappointment
season.
bowl.
This is, I mean, talk about the two teams going in. Where if you ask, I'm almost positive if you asked me, if you go back and watch the preseason video, I'm sure I had these teams 1 and 2.
That was our national championship. This
Was
is
it
our
our next?
this was no. I'm just saying like we didn't predict one, but from everything we said, yeah, this was probably our
I said
national championship.
I vividly remember saying Penn State's the best team in the country, and I do remember saying I can't imagine Clemson doesn't run it back with Cade Klubnik because he had like 50-3 last year, and the fact that they're playing at both like 6-6,
The bad boy mowers pinstripe bowl.
absolutely hilarious. That is my dubbed national championship. I will be watching that game
It's
fiercely.
beautiful. It is beautiful.
I do want to give a shout out to uh zero. There's gonna be 0 points scored in the Miami, Ohio, Fresno State. I don't know if
Uh,
there's gonna be a pass. There might not be a pass completed in
yeah,
that game.
Fresno runs
Um,
it like crazy.
and Miami's had their situation. I don't even know if they can throw the football.
Yeah, that was terrible in the MAC championship.
I mean, it was really really gross.
Last couple I got Iowa, Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia Swan Song. I think they're gonna come out and play hard.
Right.
Clemson, Penn State. Obviously, we had that. And then USC, TCU, the Alamo Bowl. Those are two high-powered offenses. I feel like the Alamo Bowl too is always high scoring and an entertaining game in that dome stadium. So that'll
It
be
is
one I
so
would
fun.
definitely watch. Yeah, it's just a fun bowl game.
Right. They do a good job of being outside of that like Maine, but bowl stream, but they always pick really good teams.
Yes.
And they always have a really good bowl game. I think one thing I do want to people to pay attention to is that Illinois Tennessee game because it's in Nashville one, but the thing that I love about this is Bielema's done a good job of having all of his like his main guys play in his bowl games. Um, I'm sure Heupel's going to get some of his guys. I know Heupel's probably top guys aren't going to play. However, Joey Aguilar's what he. I mean,
Whole play,
he's got to
right?
play.
Yeah.
He's got it right.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what I'm excited for.
That's a good in terms of talent being on the field, that should be one,
Right.
I
I
think,
feel
where
like
we
I feel
see
like
that.
that is exactly that's going to be one of the bowl games where it's like your top guys are going to play. So it's not like you're just playing guys that haven't played snaps. It's actually going to be like there's not going to be blown coverages. There's not going to be wrong shit done wrong. It's going to be a solid football game. Um, I'm excited. I would love for us to take down an SEC team.
We did it last
But
year.
yeah, I mean, we'll see. That Tennessee's a little bit of a different animal though.
Oh,
So,
for sure, for sure. All right. Anything else before we get out of here?
one more thing. Uh, Joey Fags, bring him to New York.
Not invited.
Unreal. I feel like how can you be a college football fan and not want Joey Fags in New York?
Can
Uh,
Skylar Bell win the Bolitnikoff, you think?
I feel like
I don't
I
know how
feel
they
like
vote on that normally.
I really don't know. I feel like it's Jeremiah Smith's
It's
award.
it's Smith, Lemon, and Bell.
Right.
Bell has the
I
best stats, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Lemon. I think Lemon's probably the most underrated player in college football. I mean, I don't know if you guys have watched the USC game this year, but uh,
So good.
I know Frank. Me and Frank have. I saw him play Illinois, and I know Frank watched the Michigan game, and he's an unreal player.
I think he could be a little Jackson Smith and Jigba at the NFL.
Right. So I wouldn't mind seeing him win it. I don't think Jeremiah Smith should win it this year. Um I do think Skylar Bell does have a shot. It's just tough being in that position where you're not a national team. So and you got to think last year what's his face Nash
Nash,
was a triple crown.
yeah, that's why I'm thinking. That's why I'm thinking Bell won't get it, but we'll see. Those are on Friday night, I believe. Heisman on Saturday, and then Army Navy Saturday, and there's a bowl game Saturday, Washington and Boise
There
State.
is.
So actually, an exciting weekend.
Yeah, it's kind of a I don't know. Would you want to play your bowl like how would you feel?
Get it over with, right? I would.
I feel like there's two ways you can look at it. It's like, do you want more practices? Because I don't disagree with like the ones that are like the December 27th. But like it also is tough when like your team's 7-5. It's like I just want this fucking season to be over.
Coaches probably want more practice. Players definitely want it done as soon as possible, and I think getting it over with before Christmas and being able to go home for Christmas and New Year's would be best. That's from a player. That's obviously what the players are thinking. All right, that's going to wrap up this episode. Thanks for listening, Josh. Thanks for joining. Peace.